learners, welcome to this session. In the previous session, we have discussed the concepts of religion and tribal religion. We also discussed about the tribal religion of Western India and Southern India. In this session, we will discuss about the religion of tribes of Central India and Southern India. I will also discuss the concepts of shamanism and Bongaism in this session. The present day Mundas of Midnapur in West Bengal believe that the supernatural world is infested with many spirits of varied nature and potentialities. A few of these spirits are considered benevolent, that is good, like those of deities, and they are worshipped, appeased, or propitiated for the welfare of the people. Besides, the Mundas believe that this world is full of prying witches and other malevolent evil spirits which are always seeking to do harm to human beings. Among the Mundas of this region, that is Central India, the influence of Dain or witch is widely prevalent. They rarely discuss freely and openly about a witch, and most people do not wish to speak or tell about them. Like the other groups of this region, they believe that a female can be a witch and that she can attack equally both males and females. The Mundas distinguish between the Dains or witches and the sorcerers or the magicians, the Devanas. The witches are always malevolent or evil, trying to do harm to others. They believe that a witch attacks only those people whom she dislikes. This is very important and significant. The belief in witchcraft is deeply rooted among the tribals. The Gonds live primarily in eastern Madhya Pradesh. They have experienced so many external interventions in diverse spheres of their social and cultural life that it would be surprising if their religious ideas and practices had remained unaltered. Their gods include clan gods and earth mother, village deities, mountain gods, ancestor spirits, and spirits associated with every hill, lake, tree, or rock or river. They are not arranged in a hierarchical order. Important deities include the Shiv-like Bhagwan and Yama, the god of death. The earth goddess is responsible for bringing fertility and crops, and evil gods, it is believed, bring sickness. In the olden days, their principal deities were cholera and smallpox gods. Ceremonies for gods and spirits are generally belief and infrequent, although the gods are often consulted for advice and help with problems. The most important ceremonies are sacrifices of cows, goats, and sheep, which are held in thatched temples twice a year. Religious objects include iron spear points and yak tail whisks like those used by the Hindus. During festivals, priests dress up in peacock feathers and masks to act out dramas about mythical figures. Shamans go into trances, acting as oracles and mediums, so that the gods can speak directly to the people. The Gonds believe they are kept alive by a substance called jiv. When jiv is removed after death, it changes the person's personality. The dead live in their own personal sphere with clan deities. There is no connection between the gods and morality. Also, there is no connection between good deeds and a positive afterlife. Gonds were buried with toothpicks for use in the afterlife. Cases of human sacrifice were reported in the 19th century. The very basis of their social order rests on an elaborate mythology which explains and sanctions the manner in which the different sections of Gond society function and interact. Each clan has a deity. The clan deities are thought to have acted as the protectors of the members of each clan throughout its long history. The ability of the Gonds to hold their own in battles with various other ethnic groups justifies their faith in the power and benevolence of these deities. Hence, the Gonds had no incentive to seek the protection of alien gods and to divide their loyalties between different cults. One of the most studied tribal religions is that of the Santhal of Orissa, Bihar, and West Bengal. It is one of the largest tribes in India. According to the Santhal tribes, the supreme deity who ultimately controls the entire universe is Thakurji. The weight of belief, however, falls on a court of spirits, that is Bonga, who handle different aspects of the world. The Bonga must be replenished with prayers and offerings in order to ward off evil influences. These spirits operate at the village, household, ancestor, and subclan level, along with evil spirits that cause disease and can inhabit village boundaries, mountains, water, tigers, and the forest. A characteristic feature of the Santhal village is a sacred grove on the edge of the settlement where many spirits live and where a series of annual festivals take place. The most important spirit is Maran Buru, that is a great mountain, who is invoked whenever offerings are made. It is believed that the Maran Buru instructed the first Santhas in sex and brewing of rice beer. Maran Buru's companion is the benevolent Jahir Era, who is a lady of the grove. The Santhals practice a yearly round of rituals. These are connected with the agricultural cycle along with life cycle rituals for birth, marriage, and burial at death. The rituals involve petitions to the spirits and offerings that include the sacrifice of animals, usually birds. Religious leaders are male specialists in medical cures who practice divination and witchcraft. Similar beliefs are common among other tribes of northeast and central India, such as the Kharia, Munda, and Oraon. The deceased in Santhals are cremated. Some of the bones are collected and kept for a while under the rafters of the house. The bones are washed and regularly ritually fed milk, rice beer, and sacred water and given flowers. A year after the death, the bones are immersed in water and a goat is sacrificed. All this is done to ensure the spirit proceeds through 3 generations after death and becomes a benevolent Bonga. Smaller and more isolated tribes often demonstrate less articulated classification systems of the spiritual hierarchy, described as animism or a generalized worship of spiritual energies connected with locations, activities, and social groups. Religious concepts are intricately entwined with ideas about nature and interaction with local ecological systems. As in Santhal religion, religious specialists are drawn from the village or family and serve a wide range of spiritual functions that focus on pleasing potentially dangerous spirits and coordinating rituals. Another tribe in the central region are the Kora tribe. The Kora tribe, also known as Kora Mundi tribe, is found mainly in many districts of Orissa, Jharkhand, and West Bengal. One of the most important traditional religious practices of the Koras is Sharul. Sharul is also known as Maghi Puja, as it is held in the month of Magh. It is a practice done with the help of a priest. The Kora people sacrifice goat for the welfare of the Kora inhabitants in the evening of the Maghi Purnima day or the full moon day in the month of January. Another most important traditional religious festival is Tusu. It is held each year in January month and the day is known as Makar Shankranti. Rice cakes are prepared during this festival and Tushu songs are sung by Kora women at the end of the celebration. It is mainly celebrated by the female members in the river or tank. The Janthal is a ritual which starts before harvesting as a gratitude to the deity for good harvest. The ritual is practiced by the priest to worship the deity Garam Thakur by sacrificing foal and putting its blood at the seat of the deity or than. The Janthal ritual is connected with agriculture. Therefore, the festival or ritual is also known as pre-agricultural ritual. Moot ritual is the earlier rituals of the seeding operation which is practiced by the Koras. For this ritual, the Kora people carry a trickle of paddy in the ploughed field. The bullocks are washed and vermilion symbols are put on the body of the bullock and the plough. The Mut ritual is practiced for pleasing the gods for a good harvest. Thus, Mut is a pre-agricultural ritual among the Kora tribal community. Sosogidi is a traditional agricultural worship in which the spirits of animals are worshipped. During worship, the priest summon all the spirits of animals and try to connect with the paddy field. It is believed that this practice will prevent the animals in destroying the crop. Therefore, the animal spirit worship is accomplished just before sowing the seed. As per the Kora tribe, the Kora religion is originated from the Munda religion. Therefore, presence of the Munda people is sought throughout the worship. However, if the Munda do not live in the nearby village, then the priest selects a Munda from the Kora society itself. The Kora tribe people practice their traditional religious system and also worship the Hindu deities. The Baiga tribe is present in the state of Madhya Pradesh. They worship an ever changing pantheon of deities. It includes those that are good and those that are evil, and also includes some Hindu gods. Their religious practitioners include priests who presides over agricultural and anti-earthquake rituals, medicine men who use magic to cure diseases, and clairvoyants who communicate with spirits through dreams and visions. Disease is believed to be caused by witchcraft and evil spirits. The Baiga believe that after death, the soul breaks into three spiritual forces. One goes to an afterlife, one remains in the family's home, and a third, regarded as evil, ideally stays in the ground where the dead are buried. The Chenchu tribe mostly live in the states of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, and Orissa. They believe in anthropomorphic gods and invisible spirits that affect human spirits as part of the natural order. Anthropomorphic means having the animal or object behave as if it is human. They do not have a creation theory, and their attitude towards their gods is free of emotional involvement. The Chenchu's concept of afterlife is vague. There is a clear association that good deeds in life are rewarded in the afterlife. Contact with plains people has resulted in the adoption of some Hindu beliefs and incorporating Hindu deities into their pantheon of gods. The most important Chenchu god is a female deity called Garalai Sama. She is associated with edible plants and good luck in hunting. The god is said to have the power to keep drunk people from quarreling. Whenever an animal is caught, a piece is cut off and immediately offered to Garalai Sama. In the past, only male animals were killed so as not to upset the female deity. If any female animal was killed accidentally, the hunter prayed for forgiveness. Another important deity is the god Bhagavan Tarao. He is thought to live in the sky and controls thunder and rain. Religious ceremonies consist of offering some millet to a stone altar. Let us now see the tribes of southern India. The Todas are a small pastoral community living on the Nilgiri hills in South India. They believe in 1600 or 1800 superior god-like beings, the two most important being On and Teikirzi. On is the male god of Amnodar, the realm of the dead, and he created the Todas and their buffaloes. He was himself a dairyman. Taikirzi is a female deity and more important for the people, whom she once ruled when she lived in the Nilgiris and established Toda's social and ceremonial laws. Most other deities are hill gods, each associated with a particular hill. There are also two river gods belonging to the two main rivers. Toda religion is based on the buffaloes and their milk. The temples are the dairies. Many tribes in India show considerable syncretism with Hinduism, such as the Kadugolas of Karnataka, who worship gods such as Junjappa, Yatappa, Patappa, and Sitappa, but in reality are more devoted to Shiva, who dominates their festivals and religious observances. Local deities are still of importance, though, as with the Vedanayakas of Karnataka, who worship Papanayaka, a deity supposed to have lived 300 to 400 years ago as a holy man among them and who performed miracles. The Toda have traditionally believed in a world of the dead and the world of the living. They do not believe in the presence of hell. They believe that those who have lived meritorious lives have less trouble reaching the world of the dead. Their pantheon of gods and spirits include gods of the mountains that reside in the Nilgiri hills. The most important deity of the Toda is Tokisi. They believe that the Tokisi rules over the world of the living and created the Toda and their buffalo. The land of the dead is washed over by Tokisi's brother On and is regarded as similar to the world of the living except harsher and more grueling. The Toda have developed a cult that revolves around sacred cows and dairies. They believe that God resides within their herds of buffalo, which also provide them milk and butter. The so called sacred cows, in this case buffalo, have traditionally been more than simply objects of worship. According to Cambridge anthropologist William Rivers, the sacred cows provided the Toda with a communally owned safety net. The sacred buffalo wandered where they pleased and usually grazed with domestic buffalo during the day. The Toda divide their herds into secular cattle and sacred cows. For the sacred cows, every task herding, milking, making clarified butter, mating the buffalo, and giving them salt has religious significance. And there are special rituals attached to each act. The cows are ranked in hierarchies, and the priests and other people that take care of them are also ranked. The dairies where the sacred cows are milked also serve as temples. The entrance to the Toda Dairy Temple has traditionally been only 1 meter high. When worshippers prayed at the temple, they inserted only their head and shoulders into the temple for a few minutes and made an offering to the gods of buffalo milk. Inside the temple, there are images of snakes, celestial bodies, and buffalo heads, and the temple itself was shaped like a hogshead. A great deal of effort was put in to making sure the dairy stayed pure. They were looked over by gods of sacred places. The Todas believe that their tribe and longhorn buffaloes were created on the high mountains of the Nilgiri hills by the great goddess Taikirzi. Their settlement is marked by the unique barrel vaulted houses and dairy buildings. The dairy buildings are temples. The Toda are socially organized into two endogamous sections named Tarthoral and Taivelual. The division is based on ritual specialization. The Tartar people alone can own the most sacred dairy temples with their associated herds. The Taivalual men, called the servants of the gods, fulfill the highest priestly tasks associated with them. Their economic and social lives are centered on the buffaloes. The greater part of their religious observance is also focused on this animal. The buffaloes are ritually guarded. Every task of the dairymen, every object and place associated with the herds has received the impress of ritual. The Toda observe a number of special ceremonies related to the dairies, the buffaloes, and the pastures. There are rites by which the Toda honor the dairy, purify it when it has been defiled, and make offerings to it. There are rites associated with rebuilding and rethatching. Next are the rites for naming a buffalo, milking a temple buffalo for the first time, giving salt to the herds, and moving them to the new pastures. There is also the rite of lighting the gods, fire to ensure the fertility of the pastures. Life's major events are highly ritualized among the Toda. The first pregnancy of a Toda woman is seen as ritually contaminating, and hence, in approximately fifth month, she spends a complete lunar month in a temporary pollution hut outside her hamlet. In her seventh month of pregnancy, the husband ritually gives her a bow and arrow to establish the social paternity of the unborn child. If a child was born to a woman who had not been given a bow, it would have no patrician affiliation. In former days, when polyandry was the norm, the several husbands of a woman took turns to assume the paternity of her children. Childbirth is considered a polluting event. It is not only the mother and her child who are ritually defiled, but also all other people and things which come in close contact with them. Purificatory rite is performed on or just before the day of the new moon after birth. The face uncovering ceremony is performed sometime between 1 and 3 months after the birth of a child. It is only then that Toda child is recognized as a social being. The name giving ceremony follows it. Marriage is initiated in childhood and completed at maturity. Meanwhile, the ear piercing ceremony is performed for all boys. For a girl, there are two distinct rites supposed to precede her entry into womanhood. The two rites essentially are symbolic, and an actual defloration is performed before a girl's first menstruation. When the partners in a marriage alliance reach maturity, arrangements are made for their cohabitation and for the subsequent payment of dowry. On this occasion, the girl's father performs the girl sending ceremony. The passage of a Toda man or woman into middle or old age is not marked by ritual. As death approaches, the elders can look forward to an afterlife not radically different from their present one. As the goddess Taikirzi rules over the living Toda and their buffaloes, so does her brother On, who reigns over the dead. Death generates the greatest profusion of ritual. The corpse of the deceased is cremated at the end of the first funeral ceremony, during which buffaloes are sacrificed so that they may accompany the spirit to the afterworld. A second ceremony is held, usually months after the first, in which a relic of the deceased, that is, a lock of hair and a skull fragment, is cremated. What comes through this description of the Toda passage through life cycle has also the organization of the territory, society, and economy, is the great importance of religion. The complex web of ritual is woven around the comparatively simple tasks of the husbandry man. One might therefore conclude that tribal society and life cannot be fully understood without understanding their religion. However, as Winter has pointed out, in some societies, religion plays a much more important role in group structure than it does in others. Let me now discuss about shamanism and Bongaism. Among the Sauras tribe of Orissa, in every village there are always a number of shamans and shamanins whose duty is to protect the living from the onslaught of the dead spirits and of malevolent deities. A man or woman does not become a shaman or shamanin by free choice. Generally, they are sought after by some spirits, and if they refuse or hesitate, they are stricken by grievous punishment, which comes in the shape of illness or accident. A shaman or shamanin has to lead a pure life and remains completely dedicated to any call or service from his master or suffering neighbors, even if that is under a kind of supernatural force. Among the Mundas and the Ho tribes in the Chota Nagpur area, there is a belief in a supernatural power which exists as a quality or attribute of objects. Such a religious complex of beliefs found among these tribes is called Bonga. The Bonga are vaguely understood as powers, definite and impersonal. They do not seem to have any objective appearance or existence. The impersonal Bonga use the medium of dreams to foretell, daydreams being used for warning about bad things. Bonga is a manifestation of a vague supernatural power, one that is a cause of all energy. Differences between individuals, differences of power, prestige, and so on, are regarded to the degree of the Bonga power possessed by a person. Anything that is new requires a new adjustment, and anything that upsets the personality environment adjustment is a Bonga. So, learners, in this session, I have discussed the religion of tribes of central India and southern India. I have also discussed the concepts of shamanism and Bongaism in this session. In the next session, I will discuss some of the rituals of tribal and Hinduism among the tribal. I will also describe the contribution of Christianity to tribal development. Thank you.